Although we are getting very close to what is going to be the doldrums of summer, the heat, the lack of rain chances that's coming next week, we actually do have a couple of things to talk about, not only just here locally, but across the country. You may have heard about the Canadian wildfires that are sending smoke into the country. That is inundating the eastern about third of the United States. That's one thing we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be mentioning, of course, the dangerous heat that is going to be arriving next week with high temperatures at or maybe even above the triple digits. But thankfully, before we crank the heat up and shut the faucet off, we do have some storm chances. Unfortunately, maybe a couple of strong storm chances as we move into the day Thursday and maybe even Saturday too. This is visible satellite from yesterday. Now today we have this area of low pressure off to the east that's kind of obscuring the smoke with clouds overhead, but you can just see the smoke that is pouring down to the south from Canada. The smoke is stuck between a ridge of high pressure to the west and an area of low pressure to the east, and that is just funneling that smoke right on down the eastern coast of the United States. And in fact, as far south as the Carolinas is where that high concentration of smoke is. We also have high smoke concentrations around New York City, upstate New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and this area of low pressure is going to kind of trap all of the smoke and keep it away, thankfully, from Texas. Smoke staying away, but we actually have some air quality problems here in Texas. Of course, the air quality issues are apparent up and down the East Coast, even stretching into Ohio and Indiana. But instead of smoke reducing our air quality, it's actually the calm winds and a ridge of high pressure that is helping to trap car emissions near the ground. So you can see those air quality alerts for San Antonio, Austin, near the Houston area, and up into the Metroplex too. I want to go back a little bit and actually talk about what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We have this area of low pressure and of course that ridge of high pressure off to the west too. That's really where all the shower and thunderstorm chances are going to be highest, well up to our north. So those storm systems are staying away, but we're watching what is going to be the ridge of high pressure that is going to toast our temperatures next week. That's going to start to move into the southern plains early next week and really settle in next Tuesday, next Wednesday and beyond. We're going to be very close to average both today and tomorrow. Then we're going to be seeing above average warmth with highs in the mid-90s straight through next Monday. And then the triple digits may return Wednesday and Thursday. But again, before we get to the heat, we do have some storm chances coming soon. 40% chance of storms tomorrow, 30% chance on Saturday, with a couple of 20% chances in between. There is going to be the potential for a pop-up stronger thunderstorm tomorrow. We have an area-wide level 1 severe weather risk, primarily for gusty winds and hail tomorrow midday and into the afternoon. And Saturday, there's a 15% chance of severe weather from central Texas northward into Oklahoma, but thankfully it looks like Saturday most of the severe weather may stay away. For the rest of the afternoon today, maybe a stray pop-up shower or thunderstorm, not much rhyme or reason to them, quick splashes and dashes with highs in the upper 80s and low 90s. But a storm system moving in from the west overnight is going to enhance tomorrow's rain chances. We could potentially start out with a little bit of rain, but then as we approach lunchtime, a couple of thunderstorms will bubble up. Again, a stray stronger thunderstorm with gusty winds and hail is going to be possible. Even though there is a severe weather risk that's going to be around Thursday, just like today, it looks like the shower and thunderstorm chances are going to be quickly ending shortly after sunset tonight. We'll again back off on the rain chances a little bit on Friday and Saturday. Even though most of the strong storms will stay to our north, we still will have to keep a keen eye out on the skies. Once we get past Sunday, though, that ridge of high pressure really exerts its influence, and that will send our temperatures soaring 100 degrees or above next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and likely beyond.
Weather Authority.
Central Texans are still staring down what is likely going to be our first 100-degree day of the year next week. But before we get to that, we have a couple of chances for showers and thunderstorms, not only today, but also on Saturday as well. We're starting out by taking a look at the water vapor imagery across the United States. Now, of course, you've probably seen some of the images of the smoky skies up in the northeast. The area of low pressure that is pulling all the smoke down into the United States from Canada is still swirling its way over the northeast. And even though some of the smoke is going to get out of here later on this weekend, there's still going to be a lot of haze and smoky skies on the east coast. We are keeping a close watch on this ridge of high pressure, which is going to be responsible for next week's toasty temperatures. But we're also watching this area of low pressure too. Now, in between the area of low pressure and the ridge of high pressure to the south, we have west and southwesterly winds aloft, which will pick up on a little bit of a disturbance that is just off the coast of Baja California over the next couple of days. And even though this is not a ton of spin in the atmosphere moving into the southern plains Friday and Saturday, that should be enough to give us a chance for severe thunderstorms. Now today we have a 30% chance of rain, already some storms firing up, which I'll show you in a couple of moments, but we also have a 40% chance of storms on Saturday as well. Today's severe weather risk is at a level 1, meaning that there could be a stray stronger thunderstorm or two. Best chances will be along and east of I-35 from roughly about the Lorena and Hewitt area south and eastward. Gusty winds and hail are the main threats. Now Saturday, it's a level 2 severe weather risk for the majority of our area. Main concern is gusty winds and hail again, but we could potentially see what's called significant severe weather. Golf ball size hail or larger in the strongest storms, and the potential maybe even for 75+ mile-per-hour wind gusts too, in addition to a stray tornado chance. Outside right now, temperatures are in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Rain-cooled air in Gatesville and Goldthwaite is where those temperatures are a little bit cooler, and just over the past 30 minutes, we have seen a big blossoming of showers and thunderstorms between Chilton and Marlin. These heavier downpours are producing some lightning, but they're not strengthening too much just yet. We, of course, will be keeping a close watch on them because especially in the Brazos Valley, cities and towns along and west of Highway 281 and in Bell County is where we'll have the best chance for those pop-up storms this afternoon. Timecast is struggling to pick up on the trends of what's going on outside right now, but generally for the next couple of hours, we could see a few bubbling up showers and storms, much like we've seen for the past couple of days. Those showers and storms will likely come to a close shortly after sunset tonight, but today we will have that chance of a stray stronger thunderstorm. Tomorrow, it's a 10% chance of rain. Most of us will likely stay dry with highs in the mid-90s. And then we have a squeeze play coming through. There's the potential, even though Timecast doesn't show it, for some evening and overnight showers and thunderstorms Friday into Saturday, which could bring us some morning rain. But the best chance of showers and storms Saturday, in between this stalled frontal boundary and an approaching dry line, will be bubbling up in the afternoon. What will initially be isolated storms to our north and west that could bring us the tornado and hail threat may quickly turn into a line of thunderstorms that'll race through during the late afternoon and early evening hours. That will bring us the best severe weather chance. High temperatures, low 90s today, mid 90s tomorrow, with a heat index as high as 100 degrees. That's how hot it feels to your body in the shade. We will have the same-ish temperatures on Saturday with those rain and storm chances approaching 100 on Sunday, cooling off maybe a touch Monday, Tuesday, before the triple digits return in force on Wednesday. All week long, we've been talking about the impending triple-digit heat that is going to be arriving next week. But before we switch over to summer, we still do have another round of severe spring-like thunderstorms that are going to be bubbling up tomorrow. It's a level 3 severe weather risk stretching from Dallas, North Texas into East Texas and parts of Louisiana and Arkansas. Now, the Storm Prediction Center is going to be updating this graphic in the next 15 minutes. Of course, we'll be bringing that to you on our free KWTX weather app. You can download that right now to see that update when it comes out. Now, even though some of us are under a level 3 risk, the majority of us are under a level 2, but we're going to kind of ignore the outlook and talk more about the hazards for a little bit. The afternoon and evening hours is when we'll have the best chance of seeing severe thunderstorms on Saturday. Main concern is going to be with strong straight line winds that could be 65 miles per hour or higher in the strongest thunderstorms. There is the possibility for some very large hail as well, although I do think the hail risk is going to be more to our north and out of our area. Same thing with the tornado risk, probably to our north, but we'll still keep a close watch on the potential for that. Very unlikely. And of course, street flooding could also be a concern as well. However, the street flooding is probably going to be lessened by the quick movement of tomorrow's storms. Even though it's tomorrow when we're forecasting these storms, there's unusually low confidence in the coverage. The main severe weather risk is going to be from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., but remnant boundaries from prior storms are going to be key because they could help to actually create new storms, or of course if rain moves through, then that could help to lessen the rain threat. When we talk about outflow boundaries, it's all due to thunderstorms. Warm, humid air called inflow moves into these thunderstorms, and then at some point the rain-cooled air called the outflow from a thunderstorm will surge out from the thunderstorm. Now, especially when you get severe thunderstorms, that's a lot of energy that's coming out of these storms, and that creates an outflow boundary. It's basically just like a mini cold front, but instead of going across multiple states and multiple towns, this is a very localized thing. That outflow boundary then rushes out from those thunderstorms, and once it runs into more warm and humid air, that lifts the warm and humid air into the atmosphere, which creates more thunderstorms. And those remnant boundaries can even linger and spark storms the next day too. So there's a lot of minute details that we really won't be able to figure out until tomorrow morning. But again, that severe weather risk is there tomorrow. Right now, upper 80s and low 90s across the board. A little bit cooler east of I-35 where it's a little bit more humid. And it's going to be east of I-35 where we'll have a 10% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. Now, after the rain that's probably not going to happen ends shortly after sunset tonight, we will have another chance for some overnight rain before those higher storm chances return tomorrow afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms coming from the west after midnight are expected to weaken before they get here. However, if those storms move in, they could set up a boundary that could spark up when storms move in on Saturday. Now, Saturday morning, we're expecting a wave of storms to ride along this cold front, likely staying out of our area. However, more storms along an advancing dry line are going to be forming near and north of I-20. Those isolated storms will then turn into a line of storms and likely rake across our area during the late afternoon and early evening hours, especially 5, 6 p.m., 7 o'clock. Those storms will contain the strong wind gust threat, potentially the tornado and also hail threat, but it's going to be a quick shot of storms, and Sunday is expected to be mostly dry. We'll take a look at the 10-day weather planner, which shows the building heat coming up in less than 15 minutes.